This is notes. I would just like to go over this again. Okay, it says angle addition product refers to the figure at the right. Someone stole my pencil.
Someone ate my porridge.
All right. We'll do this in pen, thank you, just so we can erase and go on to the next one. First one here says the measure of angle BFC, BF to C. Okay, so that's this one right here. It's 35 degrees. Right? Measure of angle AFC, AFC, so I'm going to go ahead and go like that. That's from there to there, right? AFC is 78. It says to find the measure of angle 1.
Ooh.
How am I going to do that?
Yeah.
For those of you that don't get that, everyone's eyes should be up here. I'm not sure what you're doing. If you're working on this assignment, I will be upset. I'm not going to do this for long. But this is something you guys need to see. Because for some people, this makes sense. For some people, they struggle with it. Because we're not measuring the same way we normally measure, are we? You know, we're kind of doing it along a circle. But the concept is the same. So this problem is basically just like a problem if I said from here to here was 35, and from here to there was 78, what would be left? Isn't it the same concept here?
Mm-hmm.
It's just we're more used to measuring like this, aren't we? Let's be honest. We're used to measuring along a straight line. You know, you drive this far, you walk this far, you run, whatever. But angles are measured along a circle and in degrees, aren't they? But the concept is the same. The two things that make up the bigger thing, they have to add together to get the bigger thing, right? So this plus this equals that. So this is whatever 78 minus 35 is, just like you would do up here, which is what?
43.
43? So your answer is 43. Does that make sense? You guys understand the comparison to what I'm saying up here?
Yes.
Okay, because like I said, you're not dumb, because that doesn't make sense to you at first. I mean, be honest, how many things in your life have you ever measured along a circle? Probably not many, right? Doesn't make you dumb. It makes you inexperienced. And that's what we're trying to make you, is more experienced, right?
Yes.
But the concept is the same. Okay, let's go on to the next one. BFC. BFC is 20. Okay, so see, that's why we need an eraser. And CFD is 37. What is the measure of angle BFD? So they want to know that one. And you know, you can do stuff like this if you wanted to on your own paper, if you have a problem. If you have a pen on you, draw your picture in pen. You know, if you have one that has like, in your assignment that has like 10 problems that deal with the same picture, draw your picture in pen, and then you can label it and pencil and erase and go on to the next one, right? Well, how's this one different? Instead of giving me the whole thing in one of the two smaller parts, they gave you the two what?
Small parts.
So this whole thing would have to be 20 plus what?
37.
It's like saying I walked 20 feet and walked another 37. How far did I walk?
57.
57. Not so bad, is it? Any questions there? You okay? Well, I know we went over a harder one yesterday, but I wanted to make sure we do some easier ones too. That's why I wanted to make sure and do this worksheet today, because we ran out of time yesterday. The measure of BFD. BFD, so that's that whole thing, is 60, right? FC bisects BFD. So they're saying this bisects it, right? So what does that mean it does to this right here?
Cuts in half.
Cuts it into two equal halves. So if this was X, this is X, right? Find CFD. Well, what's different about this one? This one, they only gave you the whole thing, right? but they gave you some key information. They said that this cuts it in half. There's only one way to cut 60 in half. Divide it by,
Two.
and it goes into 30 and what?
30.
I mean, think about it. There's only one way for you to have, you and another person to have a total of $60, and you guys have the same amount of money, isn't it? You can't think of another combination besides 30 and 30, right? That's you dividing it by 2. Okay? And you guys can see how the pictures and the way I'm drawing it kind of helps, doesn't it? Kind of helps you visualize and see it. I mean, if you read this sentence, another thing, you're not dumb if that looks like a bunch of hieroglyphics. I mean, let's be honest. It's obviously referring to something, right? It's referring to this over here. You shouldn't be able to just read that, not look at that, and know the answer. You're psychic then. Okay? Or you got the answer book sitting in front of you. One of the two. Okay? Measure of angle AFB. AFB, so that's this one, is 70. BFC is 15. Find the measure of AFC. They want to know the whole thing, right? What is it?
85.
Isn't it nice when sometimes harder concepts end up being really easy?
Yeah.
But it's all because you're labeling your picture, you've got that there, you're visualizing and labeling what everything is. DFE. DFE is 18. CFE is 45. CFE, that's that whole thing. Okay. Find CFD.
63.
Nope. Here's the one thing about this. It's easy, but be careful. Make sure and think about what you have. They gave you what? This small angle right here, and they gave you what? The whole thing. They want to know what that is. Correct? Well, if this whole thing is 45,
It's 27.
this is 18, isn't this another one of those ones like this?
Yeah.
Where they gave you that, they said the whole thing was 45. How much is left for that to be?
47.
Huh?
27.
27? Not so bad, huh?
27.
Let's keep going. Measure of angle 3, 45. Measure of angle JLI is 20. ILK. What is it?
55.
Everybody okay there? They want to know the whole thing? Measure of angle GLJ. Oh, here we go. I knew we'd get to something a little bit different. G to L to J. And it's tough to label on a picture all of these. Oh, wow. I might ought to get that in the screen. G to L to J. So I do it, and I don't know if this is the correct way to do it, but I do it like this so I can kind of show that I'm talking about from there to there, right? That is 90. GLH is 30. So I'm just, and I always put it by the arrow so I know, that's the number I'm talking about, right? HLI is 30. What is ILJ?
30.
30.
What do you guys think?
30.
What was different about here? Instead
just
of
had
giving you 2
30.
parts, they gave you the whole thing in 3 parts and 2 and 3 parts. They still left you with enough information to subtract and add and figure out what's left. Not too bad. HLJ, 70. GLJ. See, and they'll sometimes give you some harder ones like this. GLJ is what? 90. Find GLH. How did they try to make this one a little harder?
They're only giving us one.
It's kind of the same thing. It just, there's more stuff in between. It's kind of more complicated, more jumbled, I'd say. But when it's all said and done, the whole thing is 90, and the other piece of it is 70. What's left?
20.
Measure of angle 3 is 40. Measure of JLH, that's from there to there, is what? 60?
Yeah.
Find the measure of KLH. Huh?
100.
Gets easy, doesn't it? I'm going to stop there and go down to the last one,
Okay.
which I know you guys love these. Okay, first of all, before we do anything about this, everybody listen. The concept of this problem is no different than the ones we just did. It's just that we have to make an equation with the information that we had last time. For instance, when we did this one right here, right? Everybody see this one up here? Where we said that's 18 and that's 45, right? How could that be an equation? What if I made this x? What would you say? X plus what? 18 equals 45. You just didn't have to make an equation there because you could do it in your head, right? Well, when we get to some of these more complicated things, it's kind of a little harder to do it in our head, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So we have to label it and make an equation and solve. So first of all, label what you have. First of all, the measure of angle 1 is 30. Measure of angle 2 is 3x. The measure of angle ABC, A to B to C, is 145. The measure of angle 3 is 5x minus 5. I'll say this once, I'll say it again. The only difference between this and the problems you just did is this one is a little bit, we'll say, uglier than the other ones, right? Not quite as clean. It's not our fault that we're ugly and clean sometimes. Please don't discriminate against us. Try us too. Okay? Well, try the problem. The point I'm making is, basically, what do you guys say? Before you look at all these crazy, scary numbers, what is this basic? What do you know about the relationship between the whole thing and these three parts?
It equals
It all
145.
equals.
This, right here, right?
Yes.
Plus that, plus the other, right?
Yes.
Would all equal what?
145.
Does anybody have a problem with that concept?
No.
Agreed?
Yes.
All you gotta do now is write what this is. What is this?
30.
Plus, what is
3x.
that? What is the other?
5x minus 5.
And it's all equal to?
144.
So you have the skills to do that and to create that equation. You understand the situation in front of you. But you're not going to be able to understand it until you label that and, look at it in that general aspect. At this point, all we do is combine like terms. Whenever an equation looks kind of weird, there's probably like terms to combine or some simplifying to do, right?
Yeah.
What does this become? So you got 30 minus 5, that becomes what?
25 plus
Plus,
8x.
what is 3x? And that'd be 8x, right? What would I do next?
Minus 25.
And I'd be left with 8x is equal to what?
120.
Divide both sides by?
8, and that's 15.
How wonderful. Now, on the problems like this, please be careful and look and see what they ask for. Did they ask for x, or did they ask for the measure of angle 1, 2, and 3?
They said find x.
In a multiple choice test, if they'd asked for the measure of angle 1 or something like that, or the measure of angle 2, they're probably gonna have that as one of the answers, right? But that's not what they asked for. But in this case, what did they ask for?
X.
So we're done. Okay? I am going to freeze that, so you guys can make sure to get it written down. Now let's get to work on the rest of our workday. I know we took up a lot of that time doing that.